Welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a really charming story today that's basically a masterclass in garden ecosystems.
Mhm.
The mission here is figuring out how to handle pests without, completely destroying the environment.
Or losing your sanity in the process.
Right. So to kick things off, the sources introduce us to these two kids from a nature and innovation class, Kesser and Steen. And Steen is just totally panicking because his brand new kitchen garden is covered in this sticky, swarming aphid invasion. He is terrified his mom is going to, curl her yoga mat with her toes in pure disgust.
Which, is a hilarious visual for horticultural panic.
Oh.
And their brainstorm for fixing it is pretty entertaining.
Oh, yeah, totally. The fastest fix they come up with is to just chop down every single plant and haul them all to the dump on a rainy day, specifically a rainy day, so they don't run into anyone who can't back up a trailer.
Right, and if that fails, just pave the entire garden with concrete.
I mean, problem solved,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. But their teacher, Professor Hendricks, knows they're just joking around. It does bring up a real dilemma, though, for you, the listener. How do you actually fight off pests without just blasting toxic chemicals all over the exact food you want to eat?
Right. You kind of have to stop looking at the garden as a sterile room.
Mhm.
The notes actually compare it to the African savanna, which I thought was a really brilliant way to frame it.
It really is. Aphids are essentially predators on the savanna, but they specifically target the weak and sick plants. So to balance that out, you have to invite the bigger predators to dinner. Otherwise, they just leave.
Wait, so by bigger predators, you're talking about ladybugs and hoverfly larvae?
Yeah, and wasps. And as Kesser points out in the story, wasps don't actually eat 11-year-old boys. You just have to keep them away from your juice.
Right. So it's a bit like managing a neighborhood by attracting good tenants to push the bad ones out.
Mm-hmm.
The boys actually put out buckets of weeds to collect rainwater for the hoverflies.
And they mix crops to avoid a monoculture.
Yeah. And they plant marigolds, which attracts good insects and apparently calms Steen's mom down. But I do have to push back a little here. Fiddling with buckets of weeds and marigolds sounds, I don't know, incredibly slow. Why not just grab a quick fix spray from the hardware store?
Well, because that quick fix usually triggers a massive biological backfire when you use those synthetic NPK fertilizers.
The nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, right?
Exactly. You are mostly just pumping the plant full of nitrogen, and nitrogen acts like a balloon pump. It rapidly inflates the plant cells.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it puffs them up so fast that the cell walls become incredibly thin and weak. And this ties into the law of the minimum. It's a scientific principle stating that plant growth is dictated by the scarcest crucial nutrient,
Which is
often calcium. So the nitrogen forces this rapid growth, but there isn't enough calcium to actually build strong walls for those new giant cells.
So it's like building a mansion out of wet paper. You're giving the plants these chemical steroids, but you're actually turning them into a soft, easy-to-chew buffet for the aphids.
You got it. And it gets worse for the plant. A truly healthy plant has a high Brix level, which is the sugar index in its sap. When a plant builds complex sugars properly, pests literally won't touch it.
Wait, really? Why would bugs avoid sugar? I always thought ants and aphids love this stuff.
They like simple sugars. But insects actually lack the liver and the enzymes needed to digest complex carbohydrates. So a high Brix level essentially gives an aphid terrible indigestion.
Oh, so it's a natural repellent. But those puffed up, chemically treated plants have weak sap, so they lack those complex defenses.
Right. So if hardware store chemicals just create giant defenseless vegetables, your true defense literally has to start in the soil. The roots need a porous environment.
So microorganisms get oxygen in, carbon dioxide out, and rainwater down.
Exactly. And keeping that moisture in the soil is key. The notes mention that just scratching the top 1 or 2 centimeters of dirt isn't just for pulling weeds. It actually breaks the capillary effect during a drought.
I had to look closely at the physics of this one. When soil dries, it forms these microscopic straw-like tubes, the capillaries. They wick moisture from deep underground right up to the surface, where the sun just evaporates it.
So by gently raking that top layer, you're literally smashing the tiny straws.
You trap the moisture down below where the roots actually need it.
Yeah, the garden is just this intricate puzzle, You confuse the pests with diverse plants, you invite the good predators, and you manage the soil instead of artificially inflating the vegetables.
It all comes down to working with nature's complexity rather than trying to, chemically bypass it.
Definitely. And it does leave you with this really provocative final thought. If high nitrogen fertilizers act like junk food, puffing up plant cells and leaving them chronically vulnerable to disease, what does relying on that exact same chemical-heavy agriculture do to the nutritional resilience of the humans eating those plants?
Wow. Yeah, that is something to ponder the next time you're out tending to your marigolds. Keep digging, everyone.